Talk Conversations brought to you by Barista. Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of Think Talk Conversations as we're coming to you from the beautiful Barista outlet in Nugegoda. It's a brand new outlet, and if you're living in the vicinity of Nugegoda, this is a place that you need to swing by and of course enjoy some quality time with your family and friends, and don't forget some fantastic coffee right here at Barista. Think Talk Conversations actually speak to young, inspiring leaders who've gone through the trials before the triumphs, who obviously have to have a think tall mindset to come out of certain situations that challenges them, and of course facing pushbacks. Now today we have such a young, inspiring leader. Her name's Vileshka Wijegunawardena, and Vileshka is the director of course, the iconic brand Spring and Summer. Vileshka, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been great to have you on the show, and of course we're going to be talking about the brand, we're going to be talking about Vileshka as the person as we move along. Now, Spring and Summer has been around for almost 2 decades now, yeah? And it's like we spoke about, it's an iconic brand in Sri Lanka. Can you share a moment in your journey where the brand had truly touched your heart and made you feel proud of the brand's legacy?
So we've actually been around for 30 next year.
30 years?
Yes. It'll be 30 right. Next year. I must say that for me, to be a part of something that people who I loved, because it was built by my mother-in-law and my father-in-law.
Right.
So to be a part of something that Amma and Tata built, that is, it's such a big thing for me. And to know that that they kind of trust me and have welcomed me into the business.
Right.
That is great. Yes.
This is not what you wanted to do, was it?
Actually, I always wanted to be in fashion.
Okay.
I always wanted to be in fashion. I loved clothing. So I kind of, as a child, I always knew I wanted to be in fashion. I wanted to be like a business lady. I didn't realize that, that one day down the line,
Stars will align.
Yes,
right.
and I'll have it both.
Right.
Not just one, but I'll have it both.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting journey that we're going to be talking about, right? Spring and Summer, like you said, now of course 30 years. How has the experience working with the brand shaped your personal connection to the business?
So I would say that because Amma has always been the person who, it was kind of a one-man show because it started out to be very small. So when we came in, she really took us in, right? She took me in, she took my sister-in-law in, and she said, let me help you teach it. And then little things that, because we're 2 generations, right? So she got inspired by certain things from us.
Right.
Because we would talk about fashion differently to how she speaks about fashion. And she kind of got inspired by us and also helped us get inspired by her. And now I would say the brand's at a point where it's kind of 2 generations coming together.
Now, when you talk about 2 generations, there's always been a generational clash in anything you do,
yes.
right? Was there a moment like that?
No, I would say she just took us in open-heartedly. She always wanted daughters. She never had daughters. She has
Right.
2 sons.
Right.
So when she had these 2 daughter-in-laws coming in, she was like, no, you guys are my daughters. I'm so blessed to have you all in my life. And every step of the way she's taught us. Even Tata, when he was around, he passed away, he would teach us things that I didn't, wouldn't have needed to know on the clothing side, but the running of the business side, he would teach us. So there was never really a clash. Of course, I have to be honest, you don't always see eye to eye.
Of course.
But that's how families are, and we do talk things out.
Right.
We don't take anything to bed.
So now let's talk about situations where you've been put personally to think tall, where situations where you've had pushback, and what do you sort of resort to in order to maneuver around that and think tall in getting what needs to be done?
So I would say a setback would be we're currently doing some restructuring in the company. But the thing with the family business is you don't have to make decisions by yourself.
Right.
You've got a group of people to sort of sit down, have conversations, and then also you've got this person who's been doing this for 30 years. So she comes with a lot of experience, right? Like that itself is a bank of experience that you can sit and ask questions to. So it's both generations, we come together to discuss every decision, every big decision before we make it.
You know, you're the first person that we obviously have on the show who is coming through a family business. Everybody else obviously has had either their own businesses or they're working in a corporate structure. Family businesses is not easy.
No, it's not. No.
You know, I mean, apart from the fact that you need to meet them every day at work, you need to meet them every day at home too.
Yes.
How do you differentiate that?
It's not easy because some days, it would be nice to go home and
see someone else?
To go home and to complain to your husband about, how work was, but then no, he was also at work with you.
Because you just complained to him.
Yes.
Right.
But the thing is that we are a close-knit family.
Right.
And that's how Amma and Tata have always made the boys to talk things out, be close. And it's always been family first. So, whatever happens in the business, we still have to go back home to each other and we've got to talk it out. There's nothing like, I'm not going to face it. But because they have got such a good foundation of a relationship, it's easy to talk things out, and a good understanding. And you've got to be patient.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the weight of responsibilities must be overwhelming though.
Yes. Because it is yours, no?
Yeah.
It's not, you don't work for somebody else. It is yours. So you've got a lot of responsibility, not only to yourself, but to your staff and to your family. Yeah. It's not just one family, now there are two families, and then all our staff we've got close to 400 staff. Wow. You're responsible for all of them, right? It's a big weight. But it doesn't feel so overwhelming when you have people that you can trust and rely on around you.
Now, how different is it to basically be a part of a family-run business at work to a corporate business where you just meet them at work? I mean, what's the mindset? Do you turn on, turn off?
No.
I am not the wife now. I am the director now. How does that work?
No, you can never turn on and turn off.
Okay.
You've always got to know that you're this and this all at the same time.
That's not easy.
It's not easy.
How do you manage that?
You can't, because even if you wanna say something harsh, you've got to realize, no, this is not just the person that you leave at work and go back home. It takes time.
Right.
Right? Every day you learn something new. Every day you learn how to figure things out. But the best thing is there's always Amma to be around, be like, okay, you know what, I also did this with Tata, and she kind of always tells you things, like she gives you little pieces of advice along the way. So because she's done it for far longer than we have. And she also ran a family business, right?
Right. Was there a moment where the four of you, obviously, there was a deadlock, and the only time is your mother-in-law who had to basically have that outside vote to decide which way it was going to go?
No. I'd say no, because the boys have a really good relationship.
Right.
Like they've got, I think it's just years of being brothers and growing up together. They've had their fights.
Do they think alike though?
No.
Exactly.
They're very, very different.
So clearly there's deadlock.
They're very, very different. But the thing is that they always believe that whatever that they do, they've got to agree on it.
Okay.
They've got to see someone at least 50%.
Right.
And the thing is that whatever decisions that they make, they will always say, okay, I don't agree with it, but I will back you up.
Right.
So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's pretty bold.
Yeah. But I think that comes from years of knowing each other and knowing what each other's strengths and weaknesses are.
Right. Wow. Interesting. I mean, We've had so many horror stories about family businesses and how things go about, but it's heartwarming
Yeah.
to know that, you know, it can actually exist and be successful like yours at the moment. But you, like everybody else, also went through a tough period during the COVID-19. Shutdowns, lockdowns, you know, you had so many people, staff, what you do with them. That would have definitely been a point where the family sat down, be extremely determined. What did you do?
So I think there were so many phone calls. I went back and forth, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? But what we realized is that one thing that we need to do is we need to take care of our staff.
Right.
Because that's our family.
Right.
So we've just like we've got to put food on our table, they also have to put food on our table. So our main goal during COVID was to make sure that we take care of our staff to the best of our ability.
Right.
Right? We didn't fire anyone during COVID.
Great.
We kept the company, we kept all our staff. We did the best we can to them, but there were a lot of decisions that we had to make. But mostly it was to make sure that our staff can provide to their families.
And how difficult was it to basically keep the stores shut down for 2 months, 3 months, but you still had to keep the business going? What did you do?
So one of the things that we did do during COVID was we started making masks. Right? We did the whole process, and that was one of the that was a little small side business that we did. We also started stitching we started stitching scrubs. So we did a few things, but keeping 8 stores shut is difficult. So you've got to go back, and we don't own most of our buildings. You've got to talk to those tenants to be like, how can we help? We've got to look at things that we, you know, while we keep things closed, how do we stay afloat? It wasn't easy.
Was there a time during that period where you just thought that things would just completely fall apart if nothing happens? I mean,
Yes.
you would have been in a position saying, what do we do now?
Yes, I think there were many, because every time that we went into a lockdown, it was like, okay, how are we going to take this?
Right.
Right? Because you have a little hope, because it would be like, okay, you're closed for 3 months, okay. So by the end of like 2.5, you're getting hopeful, right? Maybe we can go back, you know. But then when they extend it, or then suddenly they close again,
Right.
then everything comes back to, okay, how are we going to survive?
Right.
And I remember there were days that we were worried, we were fearful. We wouldn't know, like, would we get through this? Would we still be in business after this? But I must say we've been blessed to still be here after that.
Where did you find that inner strength to keep going? Fearful is a very, very strong word you used, because you're not the only one at that point.
Yes.
Lots of many business owners were fearful. Like you said, blessed that you're back up again, but there are lots of people, unfortunately, are not where they are because they've shut down.
Yes.
Where did you find that inner strength?
I mean, I guess we had a lot of people around us,
Right.
the right people to talk to us, to encourage us.
A support structure.
Yes, wonderful support structure, because like I said, we've been around for 30 years, so there were a lot of people who worked with Amma for so many years,
Right.
that they knew how hard they had worked to come here. So we had a lot of support. We had a lot of support from a lot of different entities that made it possible for us to still be open, to stay open.
During that period, I mean, you speak very highly of your mother-in-law.
Yes.
Right? What did she say? What
I
was,
think
what
she
was the
was-
words of advice at this point?
I think she was also worried. But she was worried, but she always said, we've done no wrong. We've just got to hang in here and see where this takes us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Advice. But yeah, I mean, it has been tough the last few years for almost everybody. Lots of people have taken it in different ways, and like you said, there are institutions that have had the strength to move on. Not necessarily the financial strength either.
Yes.
I mean, it's a strength to basically move on.
Yes.
Now you, as a brand, are also looking at global expansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How difficult was that decision to make, considering that Sri Lankan's economy was in a turmoil, or still we are on the recovery process. How difficult was that?
So it's always a difficult decision because you don't know the foreign territories, right?
Right.
It's like you've been here, so you know how the Sri Lankan market works. But the market beyond this is unknown to us. But clothing is something that everybody needs. So one of the things is that we are looking at is hopefully that we could get we've got a good online platform here in Sri Lanka. So to work on our online platform for international market. But it is, I would say it's not easy because you don't know how foreign buyers work.
Right. How do you, I'm sure there must be a vetting process, a feasibility study that needed to basically go on. But what I'm trying to get at is the fact that it's a very bold move considering we're just coming out from somewhere as far as the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, but it's courageous and a bold move to take your brand outside. Also in terms of basically bringing in foreign revenue into the country at the same time.
Yeah, so I think foreign revenue is something that our country does need, right? So the only way for us to be able to do that is that if we take our brand abroad. So I wouldn't say we have it working at the moment, but it's something that we definitely are working towards to see how we could take our local brand abroad, like who out there would be interested to buy our product. How can we, in a day and age where people want things very quickly, how can we get it across to them so quickly at a very affordable price? Because those are everything that when people buy something, that they want affordability, they want it to be a quick delivery, not necessarily do they want to wait for a long time period, and also quality. So those are things that we are definitely, discussing, working on. We've got asking people the questions. Yeah.
The apparel industry obviously changes almost every time.
Yes.
I mean, fashion changes like not even every season, every other week. What is one fashion trend, the style, I suppose, that you absolutely love?
I'd say jeans.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you could dress it up or dress it down.
Right.
You could live in your jeans.
Yeah, that's we all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a norm that you shouldn't wash it for 7 days, I suppose. That's what guys think, but anyway. But how has your love for jeans influenced, right? You trying to push that as a fashion trend at spring and summer?
I must say I'm lucky. I don't have to push it because just like me, everybody else is
Right, okay.
oh, we love jeans. So
right.
That is something that people will buy on the regular.
Right. Okay.
I mean, they're not happy with just one pair, so it's something that, we have in our stores all the time.
What do you do at spring and summer, Vileshka?
So I'm currently working on the production end of stuff.
Okay.
So from designing clothes to getting them out there into production and until it gets into the store.
Right, so you basically design everything, almost everything?
So we've got a team.
Right.
I wouldn't say I do it by myself. My mother-in-law, my amma, does quite a lot of it because
Right.
she's
Is she
been
still
doing
actively involved?
very
Really?
active.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's been doing quite a lot of it.
Right.
But now we've got a team. So together we make the design decisions from what designs are going in, what fabrics we're going to put, when it's going to go out. Yeah.
Okay. Now the thing is this: what we want, like I said, what really, really sort of inspires me is to hear the family business thing. It's heartwarming, honestly. But as family members, considering the fact that you see each other on a daily basis, right? How do you guys unwind? What do you do? Do you still talk about work when you go on trips?
Some days, and it's one of the things that Dulanka says, listen, we're not talking about work now. So we do try to take a break.
Right.
But the thing is, so the Dulanka and Dulan,
right.
They're close in age. Me and my sister-in-law are close in age.
Right.
And we've got between the two of us, we've got 5 kids
right.
who are close in age, from
right.
ranging from about 11 to 5.
Right.
So, I mean, when we go on trips, yes, there are times that we have to talk about the business because that's a part of us,
Yes.
right? We can never leave it at home.
True.
But there are things that, we get along, so not necessarily do we have to talk about business. We talk about the kids and we talk about our friends and we enjoy each other's company. So we can play games with the kids and we can just chill, watch movies, share a meal. It comes naturally.
How is it? I mean, you just mentioned the fact that obviously you've got 5 kids in between both
Yeah.
families. How difficult is it for you to basically balance work life and personal life when work life is your personal life and your personal life is your work life?
It's difficult.
It's completely out of the ordinary.
Yes, it is very, very difficult. But I must say we depend on each other.
Right.
And we've got a great team that helps us. So not only, it's like some days I'll be like, can you take my son also with yours for rugby practice?
Right.
So we do help each other out and we've got a team that who really does make all of it possible for us. So yeah.
You're lucky.
No, I am. I would never tell you that I'm not lucky. I truly am lucky.
And
Yeah.
lucky and blessed, I suppose.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we're basically in the latter part of the show right now, and we're talking about an iconic brand, Spring and Summer, been around for a very, very long time. Almost everybody out there clearly knows, and they know the outlets where they are and what is basically available for them. You did say that you're going through a restructuring process
Yes.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Is that difficult?
Yes.
Is that emotionally difficult for you?
Very.
Why?
It's emotionally difficult is because it's yours, right? Whatever you do for this brand, you're responsible for it, not only to the brand, but also to the people who made the brand, right? At the end of the day, whatever decision you make, you've got to be able to look, Tata is no more, but you've got to be able to look in Amma's face and eyes and be like, we're doing this. So it's not just a company that provides my bread and butter, but it's someone's life's work. The boys have grown up around this.
Right.
All they know their life is this. So the emotional connection is more.
So every single day there is a difficult decision that needs to be made.
Yes.
How does it be made? Is it made sitting down as a group? Is it made by putting down options and ideas and people vote for it? How is it made? Because like you said, you're playing with people's emotions.
Yes.
You're playing with people. I can't say playing, that's not the right word. But you're speaking about people's emotions.
Yes.
And you're also talking about people, I suppose, who worked with you for almost...
Yes. We've got someone who's been working with us for a little more than 30 years. So as
Wow.
long as the brand has been around, she has been around.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So how do decisions of this nature, which is difficult to anyone to make, who has the final say?
I would say the boys have the final say. They
Right.
make that say together and they take it to Amma. But yeah, like you said, we sit down as a team, we make the decisions. Also, we take a lot of data, we analyze it. We use all methods, not just emotional methods, but we do take the data, we do speak to other people, we do get guidance.
Interesting. Well, Vileshka, been around with the brand, right? What is the legacy that you would like to basically, be remembered for with Spring and Summer? I mean, it is a brand that was started by your in-laws. Kids got into it in the latter part of it, right? And of course, it's like fish to water. You guys have basically taken on really well. And the whole process of guiding the brand to a new era is what the 4 of you are actually doing right now. What's the legacy that you, Vileshka, right, would like to be remembered for with Spring and Summer?
I think I would like to be remembered with Spring and Summer as someone who took forward Amma's legacy, to new pinnacles. But definitely someone who took the torch and ran with it. Yeah. because she stands for a lot of things.
Right.
As a lady in her day and age, I don't think starting a business like this was. I don't think not a lot of people could even dream about it 30 years ago. So she's come really far, and I would like to take this brand far, but in the new day and age. I mean, my challenges would be different to what she faced with. But as women, we still have similar challenges.
Right.
So yeah, I would like to leave the legacy of, being a fashion brand that stood the time for women, made it a safe place for women to be in.
Lovely. Vileshka, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for being a
sir.
part of the show, and thank you so much for sharing some stories that we don't know. That's the whole idea. And situations where you've been put into, like for example, the COVID-19 situation, where a big brand like you can also suffer. And then it's not the fact that every brand is resilient out there, irrespective of how big they are. They also have their fallbacks. And you obviously have your in-laws, your husband, you're sitting down and discussing exactly how to take it forward. That's exactly what Think Talk Conversation is all about. Vileshka on the show with us. Thank you so much for being a part of another fantastic edition of Think Talk Conversations coming to you from Barista. We've got so many great inspirational leaders. It's great to hear the stories that you don't see on social media. Right here on Think Talk Conversations with Barista. We'll speak to you soon.